Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Budget Committee meeting. We're starting just a little bit late. We thought we would be at 6. It's now at 7. It's for Tuesday, December the 16th, 2025. And could you conduct roll call, please?
Rufimo.
Present.
Councillor Legree.
Present.
Councillor McWhirter.
Present.
Councillor McDonald.
Present.
Councillor Sobalski. Councillor Andrew Dick.
Present.
Rufimo, we do have quorum.
Thank you. I will not go through the land acknowledgement. We've already heard it once this evening. Are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none. And we'll move to the budget question and answer. The motion is that the Budget Committee receive the budget public meeting question and answer as information. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree, second. Oh, that's right. Sorry. My apologies. It's committee. Don't need second. All right. Thank you. And this is yours, I believe.
Oh, sure. Thank you, and through you, Chair. Okay, so, sorry. So on the agenda is the budget public meeting that we held in November. This is the Q&As that were raised for anybody who was in attendance, as we did promise that any questions that were asked and also submitted either prior to the meeting or immediately following the meeting. So everything's been gathered. It's been circulated through staff to receive appropriate responses and has been attached here for your information. Once it goes through council today, it'll also be included back on the minutes of that meeting, as well as it will be posted on the website. So if there's any questions that are raised, happily receive them.
Questions, comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? None. It's carried. Thank you, Council. Next is that the Budget Committee received the Budget Committee meeting number 7 report as information. Mover, please. Councillor Legree. And the Treasurer, please.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. So today's Budget Committee meeting number 7. And this presentation, we can go to the second slide on the screen. There's the helpful roadmap of the Strong Mayor budget journey, that in case anyone likes to refer to that, and gives the breakout of the number of days between events. This presentation this evening has been shortened to address the outcomes of the previous Budget Committee meetings. And as part of this presentation, there's a summary of the previous meeting and the direction given, and there'll be a look at the 2026 respect to the 2027 budget as well, and an update regarding a Public Works capital project, and then an update regarding a water budget capital project. So we'll work through those. We can go 2 slides ahead. And that slide is a bit of a projection of how different tax rates will affect the tax levy for 2026. That's been in our presentations as we've gone. The one we'll be looking at today that we'll be addressing on an upcoming slide is going to be potentially 3.23% illustrated, which is something that we're looking at that would be, say, around $1.31 a week increase. So going to the next slide, here we have, in follow-up to the previous Budget Committee meeting, there was direction given by the committee to look at operating reductions, and then the staff came back with a list by department of what that information would be, and the committee reviewed those items. And the outcome was a highlighted reduction here in the green, $117,828, and the breakout of departments that gives that total. So that brings us along to the next slide, which is the items in green on this slide. If you take those, they're the total that's on the previous slide. So that's that $117,828, not to be confused with the number at the bottom, which is suspiciously similar, $117,208 in regards to the library. So what happened here is there were additional options to come from reserves that would be directed to stabilize the levy from the last meeting, as well as at the last line, which was the direction for the library funding. So the result of this direction from December 2nd meeting, it's getting to the point where the levy amount could be around, come out to $12,897,918, which is a subtotal at the bottom here. And the 3.23% I just mentioned on the previous slide. So what I'm doing there is we're progressing along and coming to the next slide, which is kind of the meat and potatoes, I would say, of things, and probably where we can get into looking at things in more detail. So on this slide, I'll just kind of give you an idea of what's happening here. So this is similar to the slides we used at the last couple of meetings, but there's a few sections happening here. The left side is the new info. It affects the levy, and the middle section gives a summary of how that could impact the 2027 budget. And then there's an option 2 given that's an example of spreading the effect. So starting at the top left in the first column under operating options in bold, there's the levy as updated from the December 2nd meeting, which is the $12,897,918, which is a 3.23% increase. As directed at previous budget committee meetings, staff have brought new information, and that's we've been receiving and preparing this. And so the next column under new info, there is a list of things that we've put in here. So going down the list, I can sort of give a quick idea what those are. So the first line reads 550 Hall interest on rent. So that's a revenue, so that helps us. The next line is aquatics agreement. That's a new line item, and information on that's been provided previously in regards to an aquatics agreement that renews. There's some software items there, PSD Citywide, Public Works weather monitoring software, website hosting, where we've gotten a little bit more refined in those numbers. Probably the main item here is the OPP contract verification. We finally received that from the province, and the amount that we had put in the budget for what the OPP would be for 2026 is actually $198,000 less than what we had in the budget, because we had put in worst case scenario. So we had taken the regular amount of the OPP billing and added the 11% cap to see what that would be. The province took the previously reduced amount from 2025 and then added 11%. So now, using that number that they've given us and confirmed, that reduces our total OPP contract billing expense in 2026 by $198,000. So then we would continue. We have payroll adjustment, the recycling depot revenue that was previously discussed that goes along with a report with the recycling collections expense and the recycling depot expense. And also, at the time of preparing this, we were looking at a wheeled loader and a tender that had been prepared for that, and that was a report going to council, and that the recommendation of that report was that it would be internally financed, and that would be the budgeted cost of that loader over a 10-year lifespan. So taking all those changes into account, there's actually at the bottom there a reduction of $16,200, which bring the potential levy down to 3.1%, which we have listed there, which is the $12,881,718. So that's kind of where we stand at the moment that we're presenting here. And then, as the Deputy Treasurer just reminded me, if we understand correctly, the library motion was defeated, so we would be adding back that cost to this, at which point that number would change from 3.1 to 4.04. So if we stopped right there, your levy increase for 2026 would be 4.04%. So then in the other sections, we've taken into account some other considerations. Just pause for a second, maybe in case there's any questions before we start explaining the next section in the middle part of this chart.
Council agree?
Through your VMO. So just so I'm clear, the OPP contract was an increase of
roughly 9.5%, 9.42%.
11. If we go back and take...
So the town put the budget in as 11%, but did it not come back at 198,000 less than that?
Yeah, so we took the undiscounted amount from 2025,
Yeah.
which is what I would have presumed the province would bill us, plus 11%. They took the 2025 discounted amount and then added the 11% back, so it was more in our favor than we
Yes,
anticipated.
okay, I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? All right.
Okay, thank you. So from there, we've got a section in the middle here with some color, and it's the starting impact to 2027. So what we want to illustrate here is if we look at the ways that we've proposing utilizing OPP credits, levy stabilization reserves, and internal financing of the fire truck, the landfill slope, the Munro-Harry debenture projected cost, and next year's OPP 11% increase, that we would anticipate budget pressures of 1.339 million as a starting point, which is a 10.4% increase before we change anything else in the budget. So the challenge we're facing now could still exist at that time, and that's before things like inflation and unknown other events that might come along and things that change in policy or things like that. So what we've done is we've moved over to the last two columns, which we're calling option 2, just to, like I had mentioned, to illustrate in the blue, if we did not use 3 of those reserve amounts, the one that would bring the levy from the 4.04 back up to 6.8 plus about another 0.9 because of the library. So that would be that'd be 7.73. So thank you. So and by doing that, the next column is what happens next from that, which is instead of looking at 10.4 in the middle as a percent increase, a starting point, you would have 6.58 as a starting point. And as you can see, we wanted to see what if, and the what if is we'd have 6.8 and 6.58 versus 404 and 10.4 plus 0.09 for the library. So that would actually be going over 11.
Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. So just confirming, Director, we're talking starting off next year at a 10.4. If we go with, what option do you have that as? Option?
So that's just if we use everything that
okay,
the
yes,
committee's
everything
directed
now
so far.
Okay, 10.4. And if we, so I'm just thinking, do we split the difference? Because you're talking about a 6.8 for the next option, and in fairness to the next council, I'm throwing this out to the floor, Reeve. Do we split the difference, absorb some this year and absorb it next year? Interested in your input, yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to illustrate. If we could split it from 4 and 11 to basically 7 and 7. I'm rounding, but that is with an illustrated example of rough split.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go on then if you don't mind.
Sure. So that's the operating to that point, and just check my notes here. I guess, yeah, my last note on this slide would be that, potentially from this slide, the committee may wish to give direction from tonight. I was preparing this with the thought that the timeline was January 2nd, and that direction from this meeting could give staff the opportunity to go back, make the changes, have that document as a budget committee draft budget to present to the mayor that could then be put together for the mayor's presentation. So, but before I guess we get to that, we'll probably just continue through with the upcoming slides, which now move on to a capital project. that's okay. Sure, it looks like we have another piece of information here.
Deputy Treasurer?
Just as supplemental information, when you look at option 2, for example, for illustrative purposes on that slide, if council should elect to not fund operating through with the use of reserves, those reserves would still be available in 2027 for future levy stabilization. So just something to keep in mind that if you're not going to use it, it would still be there in 27.
All right. So the next slide is a capital update on Hall Avenue reconstruction. And so for this specific project, we're providing an update of information for this capital reinvestment. It's one of the items in the capital summary sheet. But there was became known that there's an opportunity to stage the work and leverage some efficiencies there. So it combines to a $2.1 million. And timing-wise, it can be staged over 2026 and 2027. And Public Works Director's here tonight to speak on the project details in the illustration in the next slide if you'd like more information.
Director?
Thank you, and through you, Reeve. So as you can see maybe on the next slide, hopefully, there are 3 different colors on that map, and originally in 2026 we had proposed Hall Avenue Part 1, which is just that red section. So it's from Barr Street to the Algonquin Trail, and that Class C estimate was included in our capital budget for 2026 at an amount of $1,486,100. So Robert Drive was not included in this Class C estimate, but upon further design review and discussion with our project engineers, it was determined that it would be advantageous to do Robert Drive while we were doing Hall Avenue. So we got a 90% project review cost estimate, which included Hall Avenue Part 1 as well as Robert Drive. And we did get an updated estimate for Hall Avenue Part 1, which is that red section. And that estimate for Class B estimate, which is at a 90% stage, is $1,753,670. The estimate for Robert Drive, so just that private road off of Hall Avenue where all of those apartments are, is $345,450. So the total cost estimate for Part 1, which would include red and green on this map, Hall Avenue from Barr Street to Algonquin Trail, as well as Robert Drive, would be about $2.1 million. So therefore, this has increased. So I just wanted to bring this forward to have council make the decision prior to moving forward with budget, as this original estimate that was in our budget for 2026 is not accurate anymore. So suggestions moving forward are to either do Robert Drive this year at a lesser cost and then push Hall Avenue into one full project in 2027 where we include Part 1 and Part 2, which is the blue section, which is the remainder from Algonquin Trail to Gillen Road, and do that as one full project in 2027. One other consideration was the traffic flow for 2026. So if Monroe and Harry is under construction and Hall is under construction at the same time, there may be some traffic congestion in certain areas. So that's one thing to consider. But potential efficiencies for 2027 would be to combine Hall Avenue Part 1 and Part 2, which is the red and the blue on the map. So that is up to the Budget Committee to discuss. So if you have any more questions, just let me know. Thanks.
Okay, very quick question. The blue, is there significant water and wastewater work that has to be done under the blue and then also the red?
Through you, Reeve, yes. So the whole of Hall Avenue is a full reconstruction. Robert Drive has road work as well as some water main improvements.
Okay, thank you. So we wouldn't be able to group this in a larger, it makes sense to do Robert this year because we're totally on the hook for that. However, there might be the opportunity to package the red and the blue 1 and 2 together to go back to the province under their housing initiative funding, building faster, where I can't remember the catchy little name. There's because that's why I was asking you about the water and the wastewater. Are they significantly going to be expanded, or is it replacement?
I'd have to double check our current infrastructure versus the proposed, but we're going to be getting some recommendations from our master servicing plan as well, so that might tie into future development.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and Treasurer, go ahead, please.
Thank you. So that's the one on capital item in regards to Public Works. The next one is on the next slide to do with the water budget. And so we have some specific information there on the water budget. And this update relates to the timing of scheduled work and potential grant funding. And it can be added to the water budget as a placeholder until that's confirmed. And then, so if the Budget Committee confirms this, we can include it, which is additional work on the filters 1, 2, and 3. And this does not specifically affect the tax levy discussion on the operating side of the budget. And then we have other staff here if there's any more detailed questions for that project.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. With regard to the Hall Avenue reconstruction, do we have to vote on that, or is that just accepted? Like, the recommendation is that we combine Hall for 2027 and just go ahead with, is it Roberts or Robertson?
Robert.
Robert? Does that have to be voted on, or are we just, okay. And I do have something I'd like to add to the...
Okay, I was going to bring that up at the end. Yeah, we'll bring up Robert at the end. For my thoughts is we have two things to talk about: option 2 versus option 1 at the very first couple of slides, then Robert Drive as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so then, yeah, the last item is the water budget, the work on the high-rate gravity filters, if there are any questions for that. And if not, we're going to the final slide, which is next steps, and which I think is what just was the question. So looking at direction from this meeting would allow the Budget Committee's draft budget to be completed by staff, and at that point it could be ready to be presented to the mayor. So it looks like if we receive direction on what we call option 2 this evening and the capital updates, that might be the things we're looking to find out.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand, the Robert Drive recommendation, then it's for whatever it is, 373, I believe, with the understanding that the rest of the financing would remain static. It would remain in water and sewer, and then also in reserves. Is that how I understand it? Because initially we were talking about it being 1.4 million, I believe, was what we placed in the budget. So we're not doing 1.4 million. Instead, we're doing
345.
345. Yes.
Yeah, 345, 450. So we'd be adjusted for that.
Okay. And so the financing for the 1.4, where was that coming from?
We have the reserve summary there. Yeah. So you want to answer that? Sure.
Yeah, for sure. The 1.4 was coming from OSIF.
Okay.
So the recommendation would be that we don't fund Robert Drive out of OSIF, but that would be earmarked for 27's allocation, 26 allocation, and fund the whole thing as one, and then determine if there's additional funding needed at that time when it gets put into 27's budget.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, Council, I guess I'm asking, is it the recommendation that we would just proceed with Robert Drive and not the whole Hall Street? So, can I get a motion on that? Okay, Councillor McDonald makes the motion that we agree with the slide that was presented where we would proceed with the reconstruction of Robert Drive at an approximate cost of $345,000 and not proceed with the Hall Street project this year. Treasurer.
And so there'd be a similar question about the gravity filters and the additional $481,000.
Okay, so Councillor McDonald made the motion on just Robert Drive. Any discussion? Councillor McWhirter.
What's the effect on the levy?
Deputy Treasurer.
Because it's being financed out of reserves, it's not being funded through the levy, no. So there's zero. If I can add one supplementary thing for information, it would be the recommendation that the Robert Drive be funded out of the road infrastructure reserve. So I think if we could note that in the motion, because then it helps for year-end purposes and tracking when we're closing everything out. And then we can discuss OSIF with the other part later.
Okay, thank you. So did you get that addition?
Sorry, just making sure I captured the multi-components of that. That the budget committee proceed with the reconstruction. That the budget committee recommends that That the budget committee recommends that Renfrew Town Council proceed with the reconstruction of Robert Drive for a total of $345,000 funded out of the road infrastructure reserve, and further that Renfrew Town Council not proceed with the Hall Avenue reconstruction project in 2026, or be deferred, if you'd prefer the wording, or be deferred until 2027.
Sure. Yeah. That'll show the intent. Yes, please.
And, sorry, through you, just checking with Treasury, did I capture the road infrastructure reserve correctly? Is that the fund? Okay, so that the motion would read that the Budget Committee recommends that Renfrew Town Council proceed with the reconstruction of Robert Drive for a total of $345,000 funded out of the roads infrastructure reserve, and further that Renfrew Town Council not proceed with the Hall Avenue reconstruction project, and that it be deferred until 2027.
Okay, so we have a mover from Councillor McDonald. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you, committee. And then the next one would be the water filter. And just again, a little bit of help from our friends in finance. So what you're suggesting is that we proceed with that project?
Yes, it would be that the 2026 budget would include an additional $481,000 in capital for 2026 and be funded out of the water reserve. And just for details, we also intend to put a placeholder in for a potential grant opportunity in there as well.
Okay, if you could read that out, please.
Sorry, just making sure I have this one. That the Budget Committee recommends that an additional $481,000 capital, wait. Sorry, I think I have this confused. That the Budget Committee recommends that an additional $481,000 be pulled from be placed into capital for 2026 and funded through the water reserve.
And you could just add for the high rate gravity filters.
High
So to be
rate.
specific, yeah. High rate gravity filters.
So I'm just asking, I'll just ask for a mover on that.
Sorry, gentlemen. That the Budget Committee recommends that an additional $481,000 be added to capital for the 2026 budget and funded out of the water reserve for the high rate gravity filters. High rate.
Thank you. Mover, please. Councillor Legree. Now, discussion. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, read through you, and I guess to the treasurer. So basically slide 10, with all that information, that whole thing comes out of reserves?
So the updated project phasing is $2,095,000. So in 2026, the increase will bring it to the 819,800 on that slide, the second bullet point from the bottom. The difference will be in the following year. And if the potential grant funding is received, then some of that will be utilized in 26 and some of it will be in a reserve to finish the project in 27.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried. Thank you. And next, we move to discussion about option 1 or option 2. Does anybody want to place a motion on the table with regards to option 2?
Through you, Reeve, I'd put option 2 on the table.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry, Treasurer, Deputy Treasurer?
Sorry, just because of the previous special meeting, the decision made there, I should give you the updated option 2 figures.
Okay, thank you.
And their 2026 impact based off of the addition back into the budget of the library dollar amount, it would be 7.73 in 2026, and 2027 would be at 6.52. That is as it stands before any other changes.
Okay, thank you. So, Clerk, do you have a motion for us?
Please repeat that, please. The Budget Committee directs staff to proceed with
Yes, with option
option 2. With what was the updated amount? Sorry. Or does that matter?
No, I don't think it needs. I don't think it matters.
So just be that the Budget Committee
with
directs-
option 2 of the levy update and impact projection. Sure.
Carolyn, what I would suggest actually is including the levy dollar value in the recommendation. So the 7.73% has a levy dollar value, so that we can then take that into the bylaw for budget
Sure.
purposes, and then we can reconcile that when we do all the changes as well. And I have the dollar value for you, because it's changed from that. It's $13,460,726.
13 million?
13,460,726.
Clerk?
That the Budget Committee proceed with option 2 of the levy updated impact projection, noting a total of $13,460,726 at a projected levy increase of 7.3%. 7.73. Sorry, I'll read that again. The Budget Committee proceed with option 2 of the levy update and impact projection, noting a total of $13,460,726 at a projected levy increase of 7.73%.
Okay, thank you. I have a mover, please. Councillor Legree. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? 1, it's carried, thank you. Now, are there any other motions coming forward? Councillor Legree and then Councillor McDonald.
Through you, Evimo. So I'll have a motion, but I'd like to give a little bit of background to council first, if that's okay. So the Renfrew Rotary Club had reached out to the town about revitalization of the Knights of Columbus Park. And then we put together a working group that Councillor McWhirter and myself sit on. So basically the concept is to transform the Knights of Columbus Park into a vibrant, exclusive space where children and families can connect, play, and thrive through free, affordable, and outdoor activities that promote health, wellness, and community spirit right in their own neighborhood. The working group consists of both of us, town staff, and the Renfrew Rotary Club. The Renfrew Rotary Club has a long and proud history of supporting projects in the town, including the Rotary Splash Pad at Mattaway Park, the outdoor washrooms near the town tennis courts, the Central School Playground, and many, many more worthy causes. They have a equally long track record of fundraising and building community support. The working group identified a pump track has an attractive feature that would be new, different, and exciting for residents. It would meet the goal of adding something for citizens to enjoy that is free access in a different area of town and focus on healthy outdoor activities for children and families. The town staff and Rotary Club visited parks in Carleton Place and Perth to gather information from representatives of both the municipalities. Both visits were extremely encouraging and very valuable feedback was gained. Rotary is extremely excited to support the project and have indicated that they wish to support the project with financial support of $150,000 over 3 years. The first year, they would contribute $75,000, second year $50,000, and the third year $25,000. Given the knowledge gained in our visits, the end goal of the project would be to be a park with multiple features, including potential, but not limited to, a pump track, basketball court, shade structure, upgraded toddler playground, and outdoor equipment. We want to leverage the support of the Rotary to deliver a high quality and cost efficient revitalization of the park. The capital item I'm going to request would be directed towards a layout and design of the park to include the features I noted and receive cost estimates for the project. So my motion would be that the Budget Committee recommends that Renfrew Town Council approve the allocation of $25,000 in the 2026 municipal budget to support the partnership with the Renfrew Rotary Club for the redevelopment of the Knights of Columbus Park.
Okay, thank you, and you're making that. So, discussion, council? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? None, it's carried, thank you. And Councillor McDonald, I think you had a motion as well.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. I would like to add, and I've spoken to the CAO about this, and he can top up on it, but we talked previously, and we removed it from the budget, the Mask O'Brien development options, and we had it in there for $50,000. From what I understand, it can come out of a reserve, but I think this is critical to get the town moving forward with regard to developing an increased tax base. So I'll let if it's okay with you, Reeve, I'll let the CEO top up on it.
Certainly, Mr. Withers.
Thank you. Through you, Reeve. So the councillor is quite right. This has the potential to be an economic development driver in the town and look at increasing the town's assessment base in addition to other benefits. Of course, along with that, we'd have to explore the services that are currently provided at the VIC and whether the VIC in its current form is still needed, and if not, where those services can be provided. So it's kind of a multi-component project, but the first step would be to see exactly what we would do with the property if it were not currently used as the VIC. So hopefully that helps provide some context. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Reeve, through you. And I guess to the CAO again, in terms of if we want this to be a priority, what are we talking about with regard to timelines?
Thank you. Through you, Reeve Emo. I think we could probably get most of the project done in 2026. Would be something we could shoot for. I'm looking at other directors here because I probably won't be too involved, but yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So you have a motion? Or you've already... Somebody has a motion? Do you have a motion? Okay.
I can attempt a motion. That the Budget Committee re-add into the capital budget the Mask O'Brien redevelopment project, and further that the funds and further that it be funded through reserves, unless we have a total.
It was noted here before that it was at 50,000, so 50,000 from reserve.
Try that one more time. That the Budget Committee re-add into the capital budget the Mask O'Brien redevelopment project, and further that 50,000 be funded through reserves.
And that's your motion? Thank you. So you've heard the motion, council. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None? It's carried. Thank you. And now I believe we should have a motion that directs this to be forwarded to the mayor. Is that what my impression is? Oh, and it's in. Oh, good. Is it in here?
It should be.
Sorry.
Or this. If you can read my writing.
Sure. That the Budget Committee approve the noted amendments to the staff draft budget and direct staff to forward the draft operating, capital, and wastewater budgets to Mayor Sidney for his review and consideration in advance of proposing the 2026 mayoral budget. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Legree. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? None is carried. Thank you very much. First, I'd like to say thank you to staff for this. I know this process, thank you for your patience, I think, more than anything else. This process has been more disjointed than any one of us would have liked, any member of council. We were, as I noted earlier in the earlier meeting, we were feeling our way through the strong mayor legislation, while at the same time ensuring that we did justice to the proper budgeting by paying attention to what was brought forward to us by staff. We know the staff worked very hard on it and carved at it as much as they could. And so we certainly appreciate that guidance that was offered to us, but ultimately, we are the ones that end up making the decision. And I'm happy with where we got to in 7 budget meetings, and I'm not saying that with any malice. It just took time to work our way through it, to look at the different scenarios, and to come to a number that we felt comfortable with. Thank you to staff for all this, and again, thank you to council for your patience as the 3 of us worked it out. And then also for your solutions and suggestions. They were very, very valuable. I won't talk about upcoming meetings of council and committee, with the exception to note that we are meeting January the 13th for council, and then there is some committee meetings, but I'll announce those later. And we'll adjourn and move back into our regular council meeting, which we recessed. So we'll take a couple minutes to set that up. Thank you. So we're adjourning at 7:40.